Yeah, what up, man? How are you?
What's up, dude? I'm laughing at the title of iPhone 173.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just try to keep it incognito.
I love it, man. What's good with you? You doing all right?
Good. Yeah, how about you, man?
Not too bad. I'm working from home today, and
Oh,
we've
awesome.
been splitting the time. All that the baby was sick for the past few days, and
Oh no, that's no good.
she's kind of on the mend today, but it's like that weird, like still feeling gross, but also has
Yeah,
her energy back. So,
yeah, that's that keeping you on your toes for sure.
yeah, just a little bit. So,
I love it.
it's been a lot.
I love that. I love it, man. That's awesome, though.
For sure, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of months here.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's about time. I feel like it's been forever trying to get this album released, but it's finally upon us, and excited to get it out there for the fans to kind of make it their own.
For sure. I mean, just over a couple of weeks, the album's going to be dropping, and
Yeah.
it's wild to think, man. I mean, because we were there like early days, towards the start for you, and like seeing where things are at, as the band is, now. I mean, it's been 20 years you've been doing this for Pop Evil, so.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, just this album with what remains and what fans can expect as far as the kind of vibe and trajectory of where things are at.
Yeah, this album is a special one for me personally. It was therapeutic. I think with all the just like you said, the journey that this has been to finally be on our eighth album. I mean, from the frustrations early on, thinking you'd ever even be here, to all the ups and downs along the way. I think, and of course, throw that pandemic in there too. It just seems like, all the trials and tribulations, just all those negative things that maybe happened to me along the way. I just bury them, right? When you're a leader of your household or leader of a band, you don't have time to be depressed or to show anxiety. You have to just be up and ready to go for the next show, the next tour, the next album. It's just a lot of people counting on you, a lot of people counting on us as a band, back home to make sure that, the bills are paid and, things are going as smooth as possible to just make some kind of life normal for, the lifestyle that we all live. It's absolutely abnormal. So, those little normal things are important. But I think just as I sat down to write this record, it just became more apparent that was like, wow, I mean, I guess I had a lot of mental health issues. I had to really just resolve and require some healing, so, and usually for most musicians that therapy is music, and when you sit down to write, I wasn't really thinking about writing for an album or for Pop Evil. I just wanted to just get that stuff out. And as once What Remains, the song was written, it was interesting how, and there's been songs that have kind of helped me personally, but it's easier for me looking back to write about other people or put yourself in someone else's shoes and really embrace this we, like we're gathering together. We're coming out of the gutters together. We're coming out of the trenches together. But this album, it was like I wanted to look in the mirror differently and just really write first person, I, which sometimes when you're a band is not the best look because it's real selfish. But I wanted to be selfish on this album to really give myself a chance to like look back in a way to go, okay, look, I need this, I need to resolve some issues in order to move forward and to be a better version of myself both on and off the stage, moving forward. And that songs like What Remains, I Am What Remains, I'm on my death walk, I'm wishful thinking. It was kind of like I needed to hold myself accountable in a way and really resolve that. And once the band kind of started to hear this and they were so supportive about it, and then I just leaned into it, and then we're in a special place where I never thought I'd be in, but with all the kind of issues that come with being in a band with band members and being in a relationship with people that it's important to be what's the right way to explain this. It's important to be there for each other and support each other, but what I've learned in my experience is it's so much easier to just be selfish and I go my way, you go your way. But that in a band, that doesn't really lead to healthy issues or healthy lifestyle choices. It just, once you're in a selfish way and being in a band, it's just sometimes looking back, it's crazy to think of the things we accomplished. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we were always close on stage, but off the stage we weren't as close. So with COVID happened and band member changes, finally being in a position with this lineup where it feels like, man, we're all supportive, and can't guarantee about where we'll be tomorrow or the next day, but at least for now, there's a support system going on amongst the band members that we just never experienced before. And I think that we all kind of came in the business around the same time, with Nick, Dave, Joey, and Blake now, myself. There's a brotherhood there that's never been there before. And when these guys came in and supported me on this record, it was something I needed without thinking about being in a band. I just needed that personally, and those guys being there, and of course our managers and the label being there as well. It just led to an atmosphere that just was more fun, healthy. It just was one of the best experiences I've had making an album, looking back at anything I've done in the past. So certainly excited about this album, and hopefully it's some positive energy and a metal, in a metal and hard rock language, and for people that can also take this and hopefully find some kind of positivity from their own life with all this stuff that you see in the news or and on social media that really try to pit us against each other. We're just trying to do our part to really bring people together musically, and certainly bring them together to watch us perform these songs live. So can't wait to be your way and finally play these things and have this new album out.
Hell yeah, man. The new album, What Remains, March 21st, going to be dropping. You guys are going to be back here in Louisville May 17th at Mercury Ballroom. Definitely looking forward to partying with you guys and having a good time. And, that I feel like, a lot of what you were talking about, especially with this new album and having so much vulnerability, over the years of all of your songwriting. You tell a lot of stories that are very, very personal for you. And, you find those ways to make them a little more like mass appeal so everybody can find something in it. But with this, do you think that, like you said, the almost like selfish way of writing it, like this is me. Do you think that that has kind of transitioned like with the sound that you guys have on the album? Because when you listen to some of these songs, it's like, okay, well, this is definitely very, very different from from what you might expect from Pop Evil or something that you've heard. Like it's hard to draw, a straight line from like this particular sound to anything in the past. So do you feel like that really lent itself to how the rest of the album is, kind of structured?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we're evolving, we're growing, and you think about yourself as a musician, a touring musician, and then as a studio musician, they're different, and certainly there's that musical aspect that when you look back at your catalog, there's things we've done, there's things we've experimented with that work, there's things that didn't work as much as well. So, we want to really kind of dive in, challenge ourselves, obviously in the studio. But then there's the same kind of part that comes out that you're a little bit it's things life's a little more aggressive. Like there's a sense of urgency here that like we're always one song away, one album away from going home. I mean, 20 years in, plus years in, I mean, how many albums do you get in your life or in your career, right? Like obviously we want to be around. We feel like we're just tipping the iceberg, but we're still aware that like, hey, like we can't do this forever. You want to do it as long as possible. And we want to make sure every album and again, with that pandemic, once it was taken away from us, we want to make sure every opportunity we get, we make the most of. And there's something that we're all craving more than we ever have. It's the guitars. And I think that stemmed from that pandemic that we were a bit more the anxiety, a bit more depressed. We were angrier. It was like, look, man, let's have fun with the guitars again. And when you're writing mass appeal songs, it's harder to be heavier at times, And looking back, radio was in a different place, with songs like "Waking Lions" that we've done, and "Breathe Again" and "Eye the Storm." We feel like we've done a small piece of, having rock radio be a little bit heavier in our way. You know what I mean? And obviously, we're trying to push that boundary in a way that, but at the same time, on a personal level, it's like, when you're writing songs for other people, you're trying to be aware of what people might like. This album, obviously, you think about that, but there was more me involved. And when it's more me involved, I mean, I'm more metal influenced. I'm more like, look, I want the guitars first before. It's almost like turn the vocals down. Let me turn the guitars up. You know what I mean? So even from a mix perspective, it was like, look, let's do these things. And we wanted to do those things earlier in our career, but it was always when streaming wasn't as big as it was. It was like, well, where are we going to get this played? Like radio's not going to maybe play it the same way. And we had to get in where we fit in, right? And radio has always been our go-to. It's been our, we love our radio supporters. We're a radio rock band, and we're grateful for it. I mean, we love what radio means to not only us, but what it means to our communities, and what it means for just learning about what to do, what's in your city, like where are you going to go this weekend. I mean, I was the guy that was listening to radio. Like, what are we doing this weekend? Well, let me listen to, what's going on at at GRD or wherever I was listening to at the time, and we'd be going to shows or we'd be looking at where the deals were, whatever was the advertisements that were going. I mean, we were eating it all up, So I mean, I'm a product of, radio and going to radio for everything, not just my music, but what I was going to do and what's going on in my town. So, um, yeah, it was just different, and it was a different time. I mean, obviously we're influenced by all kinds of genres. I mean, alt, country, pop. I mean, hip hop. I mean, it was all a part of it. When you're in Michigan, you're in that test market. Obviously, I know you know Michigan well. That
Mhm.
we were kind of it's like cereal, right? We were given all the crazy cereals and everything to try with that test market. So, I mean, I'm a product of being a part of all that, and as much as I love metal, I loved hard rock. As much as I love metal and hard rock, I loved alt. As much as I loved all of it, I loved hip hop. So I mean, it was just kind of, and I was brown. I was a minority. So trying to kind of, I didn't necessarily have the role model that was like, oh, okay, here's the guy that looks like me, and he's doing this genre all the time. It was kind of like I was getting in where I fit in, and grew up in a very conservative Western Michigan atmosphere and very religious area. So it was just kind of like I got to find myself in all this. I mean, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do this? And I was doing everything. I was turning up the guitars. I was swearing. I was doing all that stuff. But that stuff wasn't getting played on the radio. So I've kind of in the early days, you're kind of shaped like a piece of Play-Doh. You're squeezed, you're molded, and as you get a little more success, more versions of yourself can come out. And certainly, this album, it felt great to experiment with my vocal in different ways that I never had before, singing my real voice, and then of course mix it with my normal rock voice that the genre has come used to hearing me and my sound, and then at the same time still digging into identifying what that true pop evil sound is. And I think that these past three albums, with what remains now about to drop, and of course with Skeleton's last record and Versatile, the albums that were released since the pandemic, it was just so important to us to like, okay, enough's enough. Like we have to make sure that we're really diving in to search for this pop evil identity and even changing the logo up a bit. It's like, look, like these logos represent us searching for ourselves at the bottom line. I mean, we're still, even though we had success, like, the era we came in, it was kind of like, okay, we don't have a lot of money. The label's not going to give you a lot of money. Here you go in the studio, make as many songs as you can. Usually it was 10. And if you don't make any more, it doesn't matter. They're all going on the album because we want at least 10. What I mean? It was like, okay, well, we didn't have time to really go back and do 12, 15 songs and go, wow, these 10 are the best version of what we want to showcase for pop evil. It was kind of like we didn't have the time, and we had to get back on the road and pay keep the lights on, pay those bills. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, hey, here's the 10 songs. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. And we were blessed with the hits that we've had, that it really worked, helped shape, put us in a position to be in where we're in now. But now it's like refining every song, making sure they tell the story. I mean, we don't know how long we're guaranteed to make albums. So every song we put on an album, we really want to complement each other and tell this story of what it's like to feel like you're what's left when what remains, right? And if you look at the visual on this album too, the volcano, it's almost like it's a metaphor for us as human beings. I mean, we're all that one life event from erupting. And I feel like we're always on that simmer. It's like, that one neighbor or that one friend says something weird to you, oh my gosh, and you turn on, everything goes crazy, right? Like that eruption happens. So it's just a reminder that, like, how fragile happiness really is. So
Yeah.
appreciate when you have that health, appreciate when you have the family, appreciate when you have those things in life that like matter to you, to make sure that you can make sure that they're worth something. It's okay to work hard to try to keep those things lined up. It's okay to want to be appreciative, but again, nothing in life matters without someone else, and there's always someone out there that can be a friend of yours, but if you don't open up that heart or open up your body and mind to it, you're going to miss out on people that can help you move forward in your life. And whatever that forward means to you, it might be different to me. But it's important to look at life glass half full and be grateful rather than be so jealous or depressed or to be so you versus me mentality that it's like you're missing a window to really to grow and to grow with someone else. And in the music business, it doesn't even work without other people. I mean, you don't, tours don't even matter if you don't love and try to give that out there to let your fans come back and be grateful for the hard work you're doing, if you can't appreciate the hard work that they're doing to get there to watch you in the first place. So just a different mentality we've had. It feels like a whole new band in a way. It just like trying to be grateful, this new chapter, and just trying to put ourselves in a position to really write a new script for Pop Evil, and of course embracing the old, but juggling where we might put that in the new set list with this new version of us. And bands are chapters, right? You look at all these great bands, Shinedown, Papa Roach, the list goes on. They've stood the test of time because they've gone through these certain chapters and evolved. And Pop Evil, certainly we're trying to do the same thing, and we really feel like this is the best album we've put out to date, and hopefully the fans feel the same way. And it's certainly it's a stepping stone in the right direction, we feel, about finding our identity, honing our identity, but leaving still meat on the bone for what we can do in the future on future albums. So we're really excited about finally getting this out there, and getting these songs on the live set list so we can play these things and perform them for our fans.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of the new songs again. May 17th, Mercury Ballroom here in Louisville. And I do want to say, like, it's always interesting when you're putting together that set list and, putting in those staple songs that, the fans know and love, and finding that good balance between things. And I always like to ask this question just because it's kind of a thought-provoking thing. And I'm sure that you've already been thinking about it, just, kind of the way that you're talking right now. But when you put together that set list, what's that one song that you wish you could put on the set list, but it never makes the cut for whatever reason. Maybe maybe sonically it doesn't fit with the rest of the vibe, or it might just be too complex in the production value of it. But what's something that just always misses out on that cut that you wish you could throw on?
Geez, I don't know if I have any particular song for that, but the older stuff gets harder, right? Because it's number one, we've had member changes. So when you have member changes, you really want to play as much as possible that you've written with the current lineup, because that's the new version, that's where it is, and that's where it sits. And sometimes when you play the older stuff, you can have bad memories from it. Sometimes you feel like it doesn't sound as good as your newer stuff, or sometimes, there's band member issues where we just don't like playing it for whatever reason. It's like, I just don't want to play that. I've played it so many times. So, we're starting to get to that point where it's like, okay, 8 albums in now, what is the perfect set list? Like, what is that? And then of course you got to respect the fans. Like, we know fans want to hear certain songs, and so hopefully we're right at that interesting point where we'd like to rotate some of that older stuff in differently, so fans don't just oh, they're going to play this one every time. No, no, we're not. You know what I mean? So trying to get that blend. So I think that's the honest answer answering that. I don't think there's one in particular that we're like, oh yeah, we don't want to play that, or I think we're open to play any of it. I mean, we're obviously grateful for where we're at and the journey we've had, but you got to get to rehearsals. Sometimes rehearsals are a little bit tougher to, you don't always have the time, even in rehearsals, to, well, let's go back and play the first record. Now let's play the second, and so on, all the way up into 8, and see what's really clicking. Because again, it's not about what song you want to play or don't want to play. It's what song the lineup play that you can play this lineup that sounds the best, so you can really deliver that 1-2 punch. So, yeah, we got obviously it'd be nice to have an extra week with no tour on, but we're just gonna play through some songs and see how they go. But obviously we don't, with the guys being, we're all separated around the country. We don't always get that time to really get together and just jam. But yeah, the older ones get a little harder, but I think we're finally getting to that stage with the band that it's like, we got to kind of be creative in how we mix the old with the new, and it's something that's like the ultimate chess piece. Every new tour, every new album about, blending those songs and making sure we can put together that perfect set list. We feel like we got a good one here coming up in the spring. So hopefully everyone coming out to the Mercury Ballroom is going to be really enjoy what we have put together, and we're certainly looking forward to being your way and figuring out what that challenge is going to be and putting that perfect set list together. So we can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Of course, you know that I'll be there. I'll be,
For sure.
having a good time with you guys. And again, May 17th at Mercury Ballroom, and the new album, What Remains, coming out on the 21st, just a couple of weeks away here. Leigh, it is always a great time seeing you and talking with you, man. I love
Likewise,
getting.
Phil. I just absolutely love our history, man, and looking forward to making new memories together coming up here soon. And can't wait with the new album as well. So can't wait to get you your signed copy too, man. We got to get you a vinyl and all that, and get it for the collection. And can't wait to see you here in a bit, man, for sure. So thank you for all the support as always, and can't wait for you to hear this new record.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Always a pleasure.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll see you then soon. All right,
All
for
right,
sure. Yeah.
take
Thanks,
it
brother.
easy.